This week we're going to highlight planting progress here in the U.S. along with short-term weather trends into mid-June. We're also going to take a look at final harvest stages in Brazil, and we're going to wrap things up with a long-term look at November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. Before we get into that though, I want to take a moment to thank Kat Sullivan and Cesar Cruz for filling in for me while I was away last week. Kat and Cesar did a terrific job of covering trends not only here in the U.S., but also in South America. Let's now look at planting progress here in the U.S. We're looking here at the first couple days of June. Nationwide, it's 78% of the beans planted. That's trailing last year, was at 89%. However, it's still slightly above the 5-year average of 73%. Let's take a look at the history now of bean planting over the last several years. Again, above the average, trailing last year's very brisk pace. Over the next 2 weeks, we want to highlight that approximately 18% of the beans are planted between June 2nd and June 16th. So if that rings true this year, we'll be over 90% of the beans, actually over 95% of the beans, by the middle of the month. Now let's look at the precip totals for the last 14 days here. You can see there's quite a bit of moisture in terms of green colors up in that northern plains. That's kind of been a very hampering soybean progress in that region, if you will. As you move further south and further east, however, it's opened up a planting window for some of those areas, for example, in the eastern Corn Belt. Of course, planting progress over the next 2 weeks will be directly tied to the weather. Let's take a look at the short-term forecast. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-storm weather. Starting out here, looking at a change in the pattern here, starting Wednesday of this week and extending into next week. It's much cooler. You can see all across that light blue area. It's forecast to be cool, again, June 5th to the 13th. Now we look at the rainfall associated with that. Most of that rainfall is going to be down in the southwest, and that's going to be associated with the hard red winter wheat. And it may be a bit of a challenge for the harvest down there. But as we move further north and further east, you can see not much rainfall compared to the recent trends. Now we got another change in the weather pattern next weekend, June 14th to the 16th. All that orange color there is warmth moving up from the southwest. That's going to be a change in the pattern and hopefully give us some growing degree units as we move into mid-June here and get these beans off to a good start. Now let's look at the rainfall totals over the next 2 weeks. Over the next 2 weeks, you can see the driest areas are west of the Mississippi River, more so out in Nebraska, South Dakota, and again, some of that would be welcome at this point given all the rain they've had. As we move further into the central belt and eastern belt, more normal totals. Let's switch our focus now briefly to Brazil, where harvest is winding down. Let's take a look at where those beans are produced in Brazil. Again, in early June, we're looking at the very tail end of bean harvest. What's made this year interesting, though, is Rio Grande do Sul has experienced historic flooding, a very catastrophic and tragic situation. The other area we'll focus on is Mato Piba in the northeast. Now looking at this slide here, we can see down in Rio Grande do Sul, they still have 6% of the beans to harvest. Keep an eye on June 12th. The USDA will update Brazil's soybean production estimate. The trade bias is we may see a slight reduction in Brazil's soybean production due to the challenges that Rio Grande do Sul has experienced during harvest. Let's wrap things up this week looking at long-term trends in November bean futures. Now, November beans, as we taper on Tuesday, are trading near $11.55 a bushel. You can see that from the early June all the way into harvest, quite a bit of price volatility both to the upside and the downside. We strongly encourage you to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage this price movement. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an upload. And remember, next week on Wednesday, June 12th, we'll have a live YouTube update following the USDA supply and demand report at 11 a.m. first, and that'll be the first look at the report, and then we'll follow up with a deep dive, if you will, at 1:30 p.m. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.